there is this popular method of decluttering that I am very opposed to. Now, I'm not opposed to the person teaching it, but the method, depending on who you are that's doing it, and by that I mean like what level, what state your house is in, what state you're in, whether you should move it or not. Now, I do have her book, and I have it right here, and the book is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I think you can see it here. I'm holding it up, by Marie Kondo, right? I think anybody that's out there helping anybody to get their houses in order, God bless them, love them. And I think there's room for everybody, that's for sure. And everybody has somebody that they can relate to more than others. And this woman might be one of them for you. But I venture to say that if you follow me, she probably isn't. And the reason for that is because I was an absolute mess. And so I reach out to people who are absolute messes and don't know how to stop it. You know, most of the time we live, or all of the time, really, we live pretty damn good on the outside of the house. But on the inside of the house, we're a disaster. At work, usually people who are a complete wreck at home are really organized at work. And that's because there's an order of operations at work. You know what to do, you know when to do it. It's really that throws us into a loop. Being at home with so many things to juggle, so many things to do, and not having really any time that you have to have it done, no level of importance. Then put on top of that our right brain that we've got going on, more creative, more fun-loving. It's more of it's definitely not an administrative side of the brain where there's a lot of details and can break things down. That's the left side of the brain. So get into all that has to be done at home with no order and no guidelines. And what you're going to have is a lot of chaos. Okay. So I do agree with a bunch of things that Marie Kondo says. And here's just two of them. Okay. That things have to bring you joy. That's what she says. I say you have to love it. It has to be something that makes you feel good, that gives you good vibes, that you need, that you can use, that you have room for. Like it has to, like that. That's one thing that we agree on. Another thing is that you have to declutter first before you can really get the house cleaned up. You know, you can keep cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, but if you still have lots of clutter, it's going to be like a never-ending cycle of cleaning a mess and cleaning a mess and cleaning a mess. So that's two examples of some of things that we agree on. Now, what we don't agree on is her main technique for decluttering. And what she says to do is to declutter by category. And she says do it all in one big fat lump. Do it all at once. And she feels like if you declutter a little at a time, it just isn't going to work and it's discouraging. Now, I agree that it can work for some people. Now, when doesn't it work? I want you to imagine this, okay? If you're somebody that lives in order, then you're probably not going to hear this, but you probably wouldn't be here then. If you're somebody that is always kind of in overwhelm, right? That's not going to work for you. I want you to imagine it, okay? Imagine decluttering by category. And so what that means is you would get all of a specific thing, say every single book in the house, all of your clothing, right? So one other thing that we agree on is, and the reason I'm saying this is just so that if you do decide to, let's see if I could try this, I could give you a heads up on this one particular thing, okay? Never start, and we agree with this, never start with the hard things that are like sentimental, keepsakes, pictures, papers, that kind of thing. Don't start with the hard stuff, start with the easy stuff, okay? So that's another thing that we agree on. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. All right, so just imagine that you have gone all over the house and you have gathered up all your clothes. So you have clothes in the attic, because this is what you do everywhere in the house, everywhere. You have clothes in the attic. Now, of course, it's not everybody's clothes you live with, one person at a time. So let's say it's your clothes. You have clothes in the attic in boxes. You have clothes in the basement. You have clothes in drawers in your room. You have clothes in baskets. You have clothes in closets in your room, and then maybe a couple other closets that you have clothes in. You want to get all of those clothes, all of them, and put them in a pile. And you would put them in a pile in your bedroom because that's where you put your clothes away. Unless, of course, you have another room that you put your clothes away in, but that's where you would put them. And you would do the same thing with books. You would go, say you have boxes of books in the attic, say you have some books in the basement, say you have books in a storage room, say you have books on your bookshelf, say you have books next to your bed, say you have books in drawers, whatever, right? You would go and you get all of the books, you gather all of the books and you put them down. And then you'd look at them and you would ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me joy? And if it does, then you keep it. And if it doesn't, then you discard it. Now, she also goes into other things like you talk to the book and you thank it for serving you and that kind of thing. And I really do believe that there probably can be a place for that. You know, I feel like in the beginning, though, if you are who I am, which is, you know, right brain, scattered by nature, easily overwhelmed. I got my puppy up here, although she's not so little anymore. And she's walking around. So if you hear any background noise, sorry about that. Okay. So if you are who I am, then that kind of thing, it could wait till later. You know, it could wait till later because with so much stuff to get rid of, it could feel self-defeating. It could kind of feel defeating. That's going to take a lot of time. And in the beginning, you're not going to want to do that. So now that you've imagined, all right, all of that stuff in piles, in a big pile, all right, think about it, okay? Think about doing the work, even if you're not going to ask it, you know, even if you're not going to thank it for serving you, because that's, I don't know if I mentioned it, like you say, do you bring me joy? No? Okay, then I'm going to let go of you, and thank you so much for being in my life and for being with me and all of that stuff. It kind of does help a little bit to let go of something to do that, just so you know. So if you want to try it, right? So now, think you get a phone call and somebody needs, you know, your kid needs to get picked up from school, or you've been doing this for maybe an hour and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. What do you do? What do you do? Do you take all of those things and cram them back into the spaces they were before? Can you possibly take those hangers? Because what is instructed is to take all of the hangers. You don't take them off the hangers. You would just take all of the hangers and you would dump them all on the floor in the hanger. So at a certain point when you can't finish in one day, do you take all of those hangers and then put them all back, or do you leave it there? How many times have you lived your life where you stepped over things because you just couldn't do it anymore? It's like, all right. You know, that decluttering, or that where it's to the point of no return, where you've pulled out way more than you could ever put back. Or just when you've just had it and you're like, I just throw my hands up, and you just step over things. You go to bed in a bed that's not made, and your laundry is on it that you didn't fold for 3 or 4 days. That just keeps getting dumped on there. And there you are on one side of your bed, and there's your laundry on the other side of your bed. That feeling is that feeling that you'll get when you have all of those items in place on the floor or on your bed. It is in a place where you're going to now go through them. To me, it's a sabotage. It's like sabotaging yourself, setting yourself up for failure. Now, when it can work, I have a little cheat sheet here. When it does work when you have good habits and solid routines. It works when you live with order on the regular, but you just want to, you know, have less than you have now. It works when your housekeeping doesn't cause you stress. But if you are living with overwhelm and your housework does cause you stress, it's not for you. Okay? It's not for you. So I'd like to know, actually, did anybody here, I don't think I'll be able to see the Facebook one because, I don't know, maybe I can. Anybody here ever try this? I know that there are some people in my Tidy Tutor world who have. They have before they took my course and regretted it dreadfully. And they have tried it after they took my course, and they've been around me for a while, and they had their house pretty well taken care of. And when that happened, then doing it that method, they found to be pretty okay. Like, I would not have a problem with doing something like that. Let me get all my books. Let me get all my books and put them all here in a pile. I wouldn't be overwhelmed by doing that. But I've done the work. You know what I mean? I've done the chipping away at things in a systematic manner, and I'll let you know that it can be done without um, making it be a forever project, and where you pull out things so that it's the point of no return. So let me know. Has anybody ever done this before? I'm going to look. Robert said, Kathy, I cleaned my shop the way that lady wanted us to. I'd still, oh, if I cleaned my shop the way that lady, Marie Kondo, I am not bashing her, okay? I'm not bashing her. I don't want it to seem that way. It's just a specific method that she uses that for a lot of people, it just won't work. And so there's that. Okay. All right, let's see. If I cleaned my shop that way, the lady wanted us to, I'd still be climbing over crap. You can't just take that bit of a bite, that big of a bite of decluttering. TTU is the way to go. Thanks, Robert. All right, let's see. Mary Jo said, I have read the book, but I could see the pitfalls you mentioned. It would not work in my situation unless I broke it down into mid categories, like maybe get all the socks and then decide, but not all the clothes at once or all the things at once. Yeah, and she does recommend that when you get all the clothes, if you wanted to, you could then break them up into categories like shirts, pants, socks, that kind of thing, So yeah, I see what you're saying, that if you decided to go around the house and get all of the socks, say, all of the shirts, I don't know. I really sincerely believe if you are who I was, way too much stuff, way overwhelmed by just the everyday, getting up, going to bed, and what had to be done in between, that that doing something like that, even just, all right, I'm just going to get all my shirts, would be mind-boggling after a while. It would not, that would not spark joy. Okay, so M. Barton, you said, I tried it with clothes and it was a hot mess, all pulled out there forever. Yes. And if anybody knows me, and I could cry a little bit just because this bugs me a little bit that I'm even doing this. If anybody knows me, my heart is to love. It really, really is. I don't like to be negative, to talk bad about people. And I'm not talking bad about her. It's just that I know, and the reason that I am doing this is because I know how very, very devastating this could be, and this has been for many people. And anybody that wants to try this, it really can spin you off the planet and get you to a point where, where before you would at least try, it might bring you to a point where you'll just completely give up. And that's my heart. I hate to see that kind of thing could happen to somebody, because I know that hot mess that you're talking about. And that was just regular everyday life for me. I could never imagine doing that suggestion and thinking that it would ever, ever work. I know that she has a show on, and it works for some people, obviously, but I really feel like those people are those people like I mentioned before. Let me see, that you have good habits and solid routines, that you live with order on a regular basis, and that your housekeeping doesn't cause you stress. So for people like that, yeah, it really could work. And like I said, people who've taken my course and have gotten to a certain point where they really are streamlined, if they ever got to a point where they're like, you know what, I just did this recently, actually. I wanted to go through all my summer clothes before I got them into, storage. And I did that. It was easy though, because I only have this much in the closet. There isn't that much. So it was easy. Getting all my books, that would be easy. Would it have been easy several years ago? No, it wouldn't have been easy several years ago. And by several, I mean 30. All right. No, it wouldn't have been easy. But there were some things that when I moved from my house, that I would not have wanted to do. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to get all my Christmas stuff and dump it all out and go through it. I wouldn't have wanted to do that. I had a big house. I had a big family. I moved into a little apartment. I sold my house, and I had a lot of Christmas stuff. No, I would not want it. I did one box at a time. I opened one. What do I want to keep? I narrowed it down that I kept. I think I kept 2 boxes, and now I'm down to one. And the rest I gave to my kids. You want these things? But you see, even in that situation, I wouldn't have wanted to do it. All right, I'm going to keep reading comments. Okay, D said, "Hi Kathy, I'm so glad you teach about this subject. Oh, good." And Marty said, "I think the only way to pull all out at once, sort, and only put back what you love would work is if you have a small category, small amount of things to go through, and you already have an empty and accessible place to put it in when you're done." Yeah, I agree. I agree. Or if, you already kind of have it together. Now, I've seen her show on Netflix. She has a show on Netflix, and I've seen um, people with a lot of stuff doing this, pulling out. But even that, I still haven't seen as much stuff as I know lots of you guys have, and I had. Um, I haven't seen that. But even with the excess that people had, they also on the show they had help, they had support. It wasn't like just this bright idea came to somebody one day and said, all right, I'm going to do this while they're still living life, while they're still going through their morning, getting the kids off to school, getting the kids off to daycare, getting themselves ready for work, getting themselves ready for the day, whatever it was, right? Getting dinner, regular housework, all of that, seasonal things. While doing that and doing this, it seemed like there was more support. It was a scheduled thing. It was like, okay, I'm going to be on the show, and this is what we're doing. Husband is on board, wife is on board, kids are on board. This is what we're doing. And then there's help, and there's like a coaching through it. You could see how if you did something in that way, that it could work. But, All right, I want to look on Facebook if I can. Hopefully it's here somewhere. All right, here. All right, so I got you. Okay, Toya. She said, I have done her method. It was just too overwhelming for me. I think it would work better for someone in denial about the amount of stuff they have. No, it wouldn't. It would just work better for people who don't have as much stuff, or like I said with a minute ago, with that there is this plan, this grand plan. Husbands on board, wives on board, TV shows in place. Marie Kondo comes over to your house. Kids are on board. Like a great big support kind of thing in its regard. Let's see. Thanks for commenting. Karen said, I can only do 15 minutes at a time, and then I'm exhausted. Yeah, I'm with you. Georgia said, I did a clean out last week. I got rid of 5 kitchen trash bags and 2 big black lawn and leaf bags and just my clothes. Now I actually can see what I have and where, and I have. Thanks for the encouraging videos now and in the past. Love you, Kathy. You're welcome. That's Georgia. Now, Georgia, you did that, a big clean out of your clothes, but did you take them all from everywhere and dump them all in one pile? I don't think so. And I don't think it needs to be done. Is it something that can be done and may be effective and it is effective because some Tidy Tutor people have told me that after they got it together, they did try it and they liked it. But remember, they had very few things. Everything they've gone through once, they've gone through twice. They were at a point where it was an easy thing to do, so. Joy said hi from California. Hi, Joy. Okay, all right, so let me find my little cheat sheet here. Let's see. Now, I'm going to tell you what does work, okay? Because I didn't want to leave this as, don't do this. This doesn't work. I didn't want to leave it that. This is what does work. A schedule and a plan that works for you. Now, by plan, I mean like, one of the things she says that I agree with is you can't just like chip away at something, one thing at a time, like a little bit here, maybe some clothes here, maybe you work 15 minutes in the bedroom and then tomorrow you do a little bit in another room. That's what I call doing a lot of nothing. All right. I did that for many, many years. You have to have a solid plan of what you're going to work on, because even if you put out a lot of energy and you do a lot of stuff, you can still get a lot of nothing done. It's the same concept of like getting in the car and just driving. You're going to use the gas, you're going to go somewhere, but without a plan, where are you going? and you'll run out of gas. You'll go nowhere, but have gone somewhere. See what I mean? And I know that you've experienced this. Now, for anybody that was ever a stay-at-home mom, or even just anybody that has ever said, I'm going to, get the house cleaned up this weekend. Okay? You don't even have to be a stay-at-home mom. You could be a dad. You don't even have to be mother or father. You could just be a person that said, I'm going to get the house cleaned up this weekend. And then maybe your friend comes by or your spouse comes out home from work or whatever, and it's the end of the weekend, and they look at the place and it doesn't look that much different than it did before. And they'll say, what'd you do all weekend? And you have all of these things you can say. Well, I did this and I did that, and then there was this and then there was that. But that's the whole lot of nothing that I'm talking about. So there has to be a plan in place that could be focused on so that you can get some results. Think of it kind of as like the magnifying glass, When you have that magnifying glass and you're focused on, say, a newspaper and the sun is coming down, right? You got that energy and it's focused and it's stable, you're going to get a little fire going on, right? That's what's going to happen. But if you have that and you're like, I'm just going to move it around a lot. Why isn't the fire happening? Why? A lot of energy is going out. You're doing the right thing. You have all the components in place, don't you? You got the paper. You got the magnifying glass. You got the sun, right? But you don't got the focus. You're not going to get anywhere. So there's that. Enough of my analogies. Okay, so you have to have a schedule and a plan. Now here's the kicker that works for you. Everybody isn't the same. You have to determine what's going to work for me. Now, if you want to get this done, you got to put the time in, knowing that it's, going to suck in the beginning because everything, but you really can give that a different meaning. Like I say, give hard a different meaning. Like it's going to be hard in the beginning. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. Hard does not have to equal bad. Give it a different meaning. Like if you go to the gym and you work out, you don't leave with your arms hurting and then say, I'm not doing that anymore. How much that hurt me. That was hard. You leave rejoicing because your arms hurt, you worked hard, you sweat, and that's how you get the results. You gave hard a different meaning. So in the beginning, when you're doing the work, it's going to feel hard. But get yourself to understand that that's the process that'll get you where you want to go. And after a while, it's not going to be hard anymore. When you go to the gym the next time and you work your arms, it's not going to be as painful as it was before. You'll increase some weights maybe, and then it'll feel a little bit harder. But when you were doing what you were doing before, it's going to be easy. So don't feel like, oh God, if I have to do this forever in my whole life, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing this. I got to tell you, you got to hear these words. It's not going to feel like that forever, just in the beginning. And if you do it with a sense of pride, then it's not going to feel like a, oh my God, job. It's going to feel like really happy about this because you got your why. You know where you're going. You see that you're going to get results. It's not going to be like it was before where you tried and you didn't get anywhere because now you got a plan and now you got focus. You're going to go on fire, okay? All right, so there's that. So it has to work for you. Another thing, what does work is using the same systematic approach every time. So having a system, knowing here's how I'm going to tackle this, and it works, so you do it every time the same way, and it is a system that I'll let you know about. Okay, and then let's see, having anti-sidetracking devices. Now I learned this from Pam Young and Peggy Jones, authors of Sidetracked Home Executives. They taught me how to dejunk. And you had these anti-sidetracking devices. And that's because you know what we do. That's how we do a whole lot of nothing, right? We'll say, oh, well, I'm going to put this away. This goes in the kitchen. Then you go in the kitchen and you say, oh my gosh, I forgot about dinner. And then you start doing dinner and you're like, oh, forget it. I'm just going to order pizza. I forgot it. And then you go back in the room and then you say, all right, I'm going to order pizza. Now I'm fine. All right. And then you take pictures and you have pictures out and you say, oh, these don't belong in here. And you bring them in another room. And then one of your kids say to you, oh, Mom, what's that? Oh, this is the photo album from when we went to Disney. Or this is when we went to, this is our Christmas from 1922. Well, I guess we'd be dead now, probably. I don't know. This is our Christmas from 1979. And they're, oh, it is. Let's look at it. Although your kids would be a lot older if they had a Christmas in 1979. I am so bad with numbers. So anyway, you get it, right? And then what do? You look through those freaking pictures. So what you want is anti-sidetracking devices so that you stay in the same room that you're working on as you're doing it without making a mess as you go, okay, and without having to go in another room. And then another thing that what does work is knowing how to deal with those things that you can't make decisions about, right? You know, you don't want to stand there wasting time. I don't know what to do with this. What do I do with this? That's something that you want to know about. What do you do when you come across big piles of papers or keepsakes? What do you do then? Do you really want to spend all of that time? You're on a roll decluttering a room, because that's what I recommend. I don't recommend you declutter in category. I recommend you declutter in a room. And my most happy recommendation that I could give is, or the best, I guess the best recommendation I could give is where to start is what room will make you the most happy to get done. You know, start with that one. Don't think about what I should do, what's supposed to get done. You know, if your kitchen's a mess and you know, I've got to get that kitchen cleaned up, but say it's the beginning of spring or it's the beginning of the holiday season and you want to get your front porch done because that'll make you so happy, because now you can put up the Christmas tree, or you could put up the decoration, or you could put the wreath on the door, or you could spruce it up to make it feel good for whatever season that is, because you love to sit out there and read. Any room, say it's your bedroom, but your kitchen's wrecked, and you're like, but I really should do my kitchen. But you long to just be in your bedroom and feel like it's a sanctuary. You want to shut the door on that place and just feel, or maybe your bathroom, right? We all have these spaces in our home that we could feel like that just joy inside your heart about that happy that it's done. Start with that room. Okay. The fact is this: everything else is going to be as it is. If you're not doing anything different, nothing's going to change. You know that. What Einstein said it right. The definition of insanity is doing the same things but expecting a different result, right? So go easy on yourself. Don't say, oh, but I shouldn't be doing the bathroom now because I really got to get to that kitchen. The kitchen is causing me the most stress. Do what'll make you the most happy. Now, if it just happens that the kitchen will make you the most happy and it happens to be causing you the most stress, then, you know, go to town, okay? But, you know, use the happy factor on where to start. And when you do start in a room. Start in a section of a room and move yourself around clockwise. Now let's see, do I have anything else? The ability to do all of this and not have the whole house fall apart in the process. That's another thing that works. We want to be able to do that. We want to be able to de-junk the entire house, not just a room, not just your clothes, not just for the day. We want to be able to live in a streamline. Anybody that watched the thing from yesterday.
When I say the thing from yesterday, what I'm referring to is a video that I did titled How Thinking Like a Minimalist Can Catapult You to Declutter with More Ease Without Needing to Be a Minimalist. I will have that link here in the description box or on this page for you to watch.
And anybody that watched the thing from yesterday, you know, that'll kind of help you to, you know, feel that motivation of, I just want to live with less. You know, I want to live with only what I need, what I want, what I use. I want to feel like what I feel like when I go over one of my organized friends' house and I leave there and I feel like I'm going to do that to my house. I want to feel like that's my house. So the ability to do that work and not have the rest of the house fall apart at the same time, because let's face it, we got to live in the meantime anyway, don't we? We do. Anybody have any questions, any comments, anything you want to add? Ginny said, I always start a big project to declutter a craft room and got overwhelmed. Yeah, I used to pull out more than I could ever put back. And I would get everybody involved. You know, it'd be like this big project, like, all right, kids, let's do this. It's so funny because in Pam Young's book, Sidetracked Home Executive, she used to do exactly the same thing. We are not alone. There are so many of us, but we think there's something wrong with us. So we think, well, you know, I must be, everybody else is able to do this. It seems like such a simple thing. It's not a simple thing. It's a learned skill. And if you don't know how to do it, how can you do it? Would you ever say to your little child, why don't you know how to play the piano like so-and-so knows how to play the piano? Would you ever say that to her or him? You would never, because we understand it needs to be learned. Are there some people that can sit at the piano and play it? Yeah, there really are. There are some people that have this natural ability to do it. But does that mean that everybody can do that? And is it fair to say you should do it because so-and-so could do it? Being organized really is a learned skill. And the fact that you have been managing so beautifully all these years, and you might be saying, I haven't been managing beautifully. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. You've pulled off so much stuff, even in so much chaos. And you've done it with ease and joy. And there has been people that have needed you, and you have stopped and you've jumped and you've run for them, and you've been able to take care of things, and you've been able to survive throughout that whole thing. That is a skill. You really do have so many amazing qualities. It's like lightning, a lot of energy, no direction. Give that energy direction, and there really is no stopping you. Okay, let's see. I do that too. Walk away and pull the Scarlett O'Hara. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow will be another day. Yeah, I'll think about that tomorrow. Yep. All right, I'm going to sign out now. Love you guys.
If you want to subscribe to my channel, click on subscribe. And if you want to know every time I put out a video, click the little bell, and then YouTube will notify you. Thanks for being in my world.
Now let's see if I can end this meeting like a human being. Not a human being. One time my daughter, Emily, she was really little, we had a dog, and she said, and you know how you hear your kids playing in the corner or something, and she said, I am a human being. You are a dog being. Isn't that hysterical? She thought it was human being. Doesn't that make sense now? You're a dog being. All right, enough of my stories. See you guys soon. Bye.